All right, hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live right now, Winthrop, Minnesota. Your buddy Brad Boddicker here, and it is you're at Beehive Productions um, Apocalypse Humpday, and we are checking out. We're going to be reading chapter 14 from Zechariah 14:12, Humanity's Last Stand, my zombie book. We're also going to be talking with my friend Jim, who should be here any moment. He should be chiming in. In the meantime, let's talk about what what's going on with the people in the world. Hey, good evening, Kevin. How you doing? Right now in the world of Zechariah 14:12, when we last were there, we were, let's see here, let me look back. Yes, Len and the girls were the Strato tanker that was filling up Air Force One crash landed nearby and burned the entire Heritage Acres to the ground. So they weren't able to they weren't able to hide there anymore, so they had to take off. And they were on the run, and they're hiding out in a cemetery, and they got chased out of there as well. So anyhow, so they are chugging away in a front loader, looking for a safe place to be, and that's where they are. And I want to introduce you here to a very good friend of mine who I've known since we were wee laddies. This is Jim West. Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
To be honest with you,
What?
I was half expecting a sock puppet to show up.
Or a glitch.
Yeah, well, Allison said I don't know what to wear because Allison's going to be on What's Buzzing at the Hive,
Mm-hmm.
and she said she asked you what she didn't know what to wear, and you said a sock puppet or something like that.
Yeah. Well, she doing the whole. I don't know if I want to go. I don't have anything that looks good. But like, whatever. I said just use the sock puppet. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that's what I was expecting from you tonight was just this little. So
That
anyway,
wouldn't be. That would not be out of our realm.
no, that would not be at all. We could probably do a whole podcast with sock puppets. So why don't you
Didn't we do that in high school? Somebody did that in high school.
yeah, I think so. Somebody did. I don't know if it was me or not. I
It
a
was
lot of
for
that
one of our
stuff from,
projects.
yeah, that was a fun class.
Right?
Whatever class. Was that creative writing?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I believe,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
but
That was
not
the
with
one where
Chuck.
we, oh,
It was
not
it
with,
was with somebody else.
yeah, it was Mrs. Otteson.
That's it. Yeah, it wasn't Chuck
So
Lundstrom.
yeah. Speaking of
Although I
Chuck,
liked him too.
Chuck Northwick chimed in here with his zombies and his badgers and his bees. Good evening, Chuck.
Oh, oh
Can
my.
you see these guys check coming in? Kevin said hey, and
Yeah,
Chuck chimed
yeah,
in.
I see a couple things on the side.
Oh, so one of the new people that have come to watch my podcast, Lynn Anderson, and her husband worked with your dad. She knew your dad
Mr.
well.
Anderson.
Mr.
Is his
Anderson.
name Neo?
No, it's not.
Oh, different
she's
Anderson.
she's Colette Anderson's mom.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah, I
yeah,
remember Colette. I remember going over to their house.
okay. So you do remember her.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
told her
Yep.
that you're going to be on tonight, so I imagine she'll chime in here a little later. So,
Yeah, I remember that Colette's dad had this whole reel-to-reel collection of music galore, and it was just, I mean, it took up like a whole wall in their living room. It was a big reel-to-reel thing. It's the first time I'd ever seen a reel-to-reel.
oh, well, do you remember the teacher Archie McCord?
Oh yeah, yeah, the Mr. G.I. Joe.
Yeah, he lived across the road from me growing up, and he had
Yeah, I already took it out.
he had
I got sorry.
no worries. He had he had a reel to reel, and he I think it was the
Oh,
Beach Boys he had on there. It was pretty cool.
that's
So
surprising from him. You'd think it'd
yeah,
be something different.
yeah. So why don't you so I've everybody knows that I know you from high school. Also,
Mhm.
Jim is the co-star of my last book, Sleepwalkers. He was Jeff Eastman, and yeah, so that's where his popularity. He's pretty popular in my writing world because you're also in my new book I'm writing. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Same
yeah,
character
yeah, kind of. You're I mean, it's a serious book, but yeah, you're
or is it
somebody I meet along the
Max
road.
Power?
Yeah. You're somebody I meet along the way, and
Oh,
you give me some
gotcha.
tidbits of wisdom that you've given me in real life. So yeah,
Don't
but
pee into the wind.
right, don't pee in the wind and don't pee on electric fences.
But don't whiz on the electric fence.
Yeah, something like that.
The old Ren and Stimpy commercial, I think it is.
Yeah, something like that. So, but anyway,
That was a
I've
messed
told
up
people
show.
I told people that I knew you from high school. But why don't we talk about um what you did after high school?
Okay. Um, well, I actually signed up for the Army on 11 July 87, which was almost a year before I was set to graduate. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And 20 days after I graduated, I was in boots. And a couple friends um, came to see me off at at the airport. One, Grant Andrus, who recently passed, unfortunately, and Brandon Smith was there. He's another aviator. And then one guy from our class was working at the airport at the time, Chris Wilsh, and
Oh,
he was there to say goodbye too, as well. And you know, did almost 5 years, no, yeah, almost 5 years on a 4 year tour, and I got out, and 2 months after I had gotten out, it was my ranger company in Somalia, and it's a, you know, I'd been with them and for Just Cause in '89, and then you know we hung together and for during Desert Storm, and and like I said, I got out, and 2 months later it was Somalia, so I walked right back into the recruiter's office and basically stayed in the rest of the time between active reserve and guard, and ended up retiring at the end of October of 2008. So all in all, I think for retirement time, it's like 21 years and something.
wow.
And I've tried to count the deployments. I keep forgetting them. So many. There's around 15, give or take. Um, but you got to keep in mind that before 9/11, a deployment was only 2 weeks to a month. But after 9/11, deployments went 6 months, a year, year and a half, two
Mhm.
years, you know, stuff like that. And it was really tough. And um, fortunately, I married the right woman, and she stuck with me through 4 deployments, and um, live just northwest of the cities, outside of Elk River. and
Yeah.
I, like I said, I'm retired from that. But of course, you don't because you if you retire out of the Garter Reserve, you don't get to collect until you're 60. Even though
Oh,
if I did 20 years active, I could start collecting the next day. Like our other um, another one of our classmates, Andy Olson, he was in college and didn't see anywhere for him to go with a physics degree. So he joined the Air Force and he stayed in for
ever.
22 or 3 years, something like that. And he
Yeah, he's
actually ended up
retired now, isn't
retiring.
he?
Yep, he retired as a lieutenant colonel. And I keep telling him I'm still not going to call him sir, which is okay because they don't do that in the Air Force anyway. So,
Oh, right. They call each other dude, don't they?
well, basically, they're civilians in uniform.
Ah, yeah. Coast
And
Guard.
I tried doing some stuff with Air Force guys, and they're like, "Just call me Bill." No, no, I cannot.
No,
I am
no.
not authorized.
So,
It's just
y-
two different,
yeah.
completely different mindsets.
Well, one, you know how much I appreciate the service you've done, man, and I know
But
it's something that
from
you
being friends for way back when, that's all that I wanted to do.
right.
You know,
Yeah, that
I
is all
was
you
I
wanted to do.
was I was literally the GI Joe kid. I had like
Yeah,
all the stuff. I knew where I mean, even as a little kid growing up, I knew where every Army surplus store was in the Twin Cities. Yeah, and that's all I wanted to do. Now I've done it. I've been all I could be, and I didn't want to be it anymore. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. So
right. So, I mean, through your military career, I mean, you've gained some really useful skills. Um, I
eh,
mean,
oh,
gunsmithing is one of them.
useful.
Useful.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know,
it can be useful, especially uh, maybe in the next year.
mm,
Who
maybe.
knows what's going to happen? This year is going to be crazy.
I don't know. I was really hoping for the zombie apocalypse when COVID hit. I thought, oh, dude, this is it. This is going to be the zombie. And then what? What?
Yeah, let
Nobody
down
was even
again.
eating a
Oh,
brain.
well, there was that guy in Florida that ate the face off another guy,
Oh,
but that
yeah,
was
there was
bath
that.
salts.
Yeah, those bass also wasn't COVID. Damn it.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, so with your experience that you've had overseas, um, watching watching zombie apocalypse television shows and watching um zombie movies, which we've done quite a bit, especially when we're hunting
Hmm.
or whatever. Um,
And never enough.
you you are a play-by-play commentator when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like you saying, he's holding the gun wrong. I know exactly who trained that guy in on how to use that weapon. Um, yeah. So anyhow, so that's one of the reasons why I asked you to be on here tonight for Apocalypse Hump Day, because we're reading through my zombie book, and yeah, and I thought, we got to have Jim on this because the things that we've talked about while watching these shows. I'm like, we gotta bring that out and talk about that too. So,
Yep.
one of the things I thought to get us going with it was that con plan
Hmm.
quadruple 8-11
Yeah, they
that
love
I
giving
made
it
you read
weird.
through.
Yeah. Well, you didn't make me. I chose to. Otherwise,
Right.
I'd have just blown it off.
Yeah.
You're
Well, I
not
was
telling
like,
me to
hey,
do anything. You're not the boss of me.
hey, read this. Do it. Do what I said.
But it was, and I know why they did it. Um, they did it tongue in cheek, but they did it because there was a big, because of The Walking Dead and whatever. There's a big um,
Right. It's a big trend.
zombies were popular. Yeah, big trend
Yeah,
for that, and so they figured tongue in cheek. Well, if we can talk people into preparing for this, they'll be pretty much prepared for anything. So
right. I think one of my favorite things on there on that document. So for those of you that don't know, the Complan quadruple 8-11 is a document that was written up. Um, it's a Department of Defense document, isn't it? And it's
I think
basically
it falls under Homeland Security, but it might as well be. It doesn't really matter.
yeah. So but it's basically how the government would react to a zombie apocalypse. And like you said, it was tongue in cheek, but it was really meant as a training exercise for their agents, really, is what it was. And they just threw zombies in there because, like you said, they're trendy, you know.
Yep.
So what did you pull out of that document that you read over?
Oh, boy, I made a list. I'm not big on lists, but I made a list.
You're not being honest, but
Um,
you made
Made one, yep. Da. Oh, um, well, they discussed different types of zombies, and they had vegetarian zombies, evidently from the game. I've never played it. My youngest has played it. As Plants vs Zombies. Evidently,
yeah.
there's vegetarian zombies. They just call them VZs. So I
Who
started
say
thinking, because my mind likes to
think? Yeah,
on tangents,
yeah, it does. It
and
does.
and I'm like, wait a minute. If they're zombies, but they like plants, could they then prefer vegans over omnivore humans? Hmm.
Hmm. One once
I mean,
weren't we? Wasn't it always pounded into our heads that you are what you eat?
well, yeah. I mean, that was all the food group pyramid and all that stuff when we were growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there's that. Yeah, I think the
Yep.
funny part about that document with the vegetarian, the VZs, was instead of the zombies saying brains, they were saying grains.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And but they had chicken zombies, and I raised chickens. To those that don't know, but that's uh, there's actually a real life incident to that. That's why I came around. There are or were chicken zombies as somewhere, and this is, of course, you'd think it'd be in Florida, but it turns out it was in California. Not a big difference,
So
but
only the
anyway,
people go
um,
nuts in Florida. California, it's the
yeah,
avian.
completely level-headed in California.
Right,
Anyway,
exactly. Yeah.
um, so a chicken farmer in California had um, it wasn't a poultry farm where there was a bunch of layers, just eggs, and from raising chickens, they only lay eggs for give or take 3 years, sometimes four. But once they reach that mark, they just stop laying eggs. So the farmers euthanize them, and they'll just usher them all into a you know uh, shed, and they got car exhaust going into it, carbon monoxide, kill them all, and then bury them. Must have had an old German insignia on the door of the uh, shed or whatever. But they bury them, and then what had happened was they buried them all together, mass grave, and then some chickens dug their way out and were wandering around for a couple of days. And the guy couldn't figure it out, and then all of a sudden they keeled over from finally, the carbon and monoxide poisoning. But
So do they
yeah,
think
they
that
dug their way out.
that those chickens were actually dead and walking around, or that they just kind of revived and walked around and then eventually died?
I
I
didn't
mean, I guess
ask.
yeah, the document wasn't really clear on that, but I
Yeah, that's
briefly overlooked it over, but I don't study things like you do. But
yeah.
yeah, so
I tend to nitpick on things, but I don't know.
So so if okay, so now we've talked about talked about the con plan, and you and I have discussed, okay, well, I would have done this differently, I would have done that differently. We talk about Rick, we talk about Negan, we talk, well, and then we kind of stopped watching it after that, but um
Yeah, yeah. They never learned. Same
so
thing all the time. Hey, let's believe these people. They're good. Really? Oh, what? You backstabbed us? No way.
so what do you think out of all this, and let's just put zombies aside, let's just say surviving the proverbial shit hitting the fan, what do you think people, what's the number one thing people should be doing to plan to get out?
Well, you need to, well, first, shelter in place first, so you can figure out what the heck is going on. But you better have a plan for escape, and not by escape, I mean get out of Dodge. Like, especially,
Immediately.
I yeah, I used to live in the Twin Cities, and oh, good grief, I could not do that very, very long. Had to get out of there, but not just one way, at least two, sometimes three ways. And I had it planned out: a westward route, and northbound route, and then a tertiary route. And one when you went over a train bridge. And I know I can't take my vehicle, but at least you can walk across it, because most of the Twin Cities, the way to get out is over a bridge. Well, that's a choke
Mhm.
point. Somebody gets in a car accident, whatever happens, you're
Well, then
stuck.
you just drive a ship into it. Sorry, is that too soon?
Who knows what's gonna happen with that thing? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
It's
either.
weird. Just
Yeah.
weird.
So, all right. So yeah, I mean, like ever since I saw the movie Dawn of the Dead, I've
The
constantly
first one.
that, yeah, every time I've walked into a house or a business, whatever, I'm always like, okay, so if she would hit the fan right now, where are my exits? Where are they going to? Where can they get in and where can I get out? And I've always thought that. And
Overseas now.
yeah,
To
well,
back to a wall that they know which way to
like the place I'm at right now, I'm screwed because
work.
I'm ground level
Hmm.
and I've got windows all the way around.
No, that's not optimal, but uh,
Yeah, I mean, so
what's I mean, but you
entrance,
you live out
entrance,
in like,
Winthrop,
yeah, way out in the middle of nowhere, and then you're like, to that well, don't forget, you gotta let the town drunk out of the jail, and
right?
then you gotta go to the sheriff with the one bullet in his pocket.
And use them as bait.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I always thought that living in a rural area. I mean, I wrote that in the zombie book. Being in a rural area was better because they're building all these safe zones in the larger cities. Well, that's where shit's hitting the fan, and these are like
Mhm.
viral zombies, so they're not like just the dead coming back to life. They were alive, they got infected, and now they're hungry for human flesh. So there's that going. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty much toast. I just know that yeah, I'm heading to your house or I'm
Yeah.
going to your cabin.
Yeah. Well,
So
first stop here first, because it would be on the way.
okay. So yeah, I'll do that. And don't anybody
Yep.
follow me
Just,
because there's not enough room.
but you think about it, when with out in the middle of nowhere, what's out in the middle of nowhere is farms. Farmers have equipment. That same equipment you can use to block off the city. A small town like Winthrop.
Right.
It'd be
Right.
really,
Yeah.
really, really easy.
Oh, dude,
And
and you could rig a combine to rip zombies up.
well, that was that's one of my ideas. I'm like, oh man, wonder what a combine would do. I've never seen a combine in a movie or a zombie movie. That'd be awesome.
It's in the zombie book that I wrote.
And a
They went
steamroller,
after him with it, and but the problem
but not
was
the
that
regular
they kept
steamroller.
plugging
The the first steamroller that they use, that's got all the little studs on it
Oh
before
yeah,
they,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, use that one.
yeah. I was thinking, so farmers have really awesome equipment to kill zombies with because
Hmm.
those sprayers, they got those long arms that stretch out on either side, and then they
The
spray the fields with
ones
them.
on a vehicle. The
Yeah,
ones on a
and
vehicle.
if the vehicle
Okay.
sits super high, you can drive
Hmm.
underneath them because the wheels are
Yep.
so high. But I was thinking instead of sprayers, you could just put lawnmower blades on those,
Well,
and
you
you
could
could
also
just
fill the
drive
spray
through a
tank
crowd.
with fuel
Yeah,
and then
fuel,
ignite it.
acid. Yeah, there you go. You just got to worry about the trail of fuel coming back to you. Is all.
That's another thing that I've always thought about with all these zombie movies, or the the whole zombie premise. If a zombie is around long enough, they start to rot, right?
Right,
So that means it'd be excreting a hell of a lot of methane,
right.
making it that much more flammable.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So in this book, because I thought about that, like there's the running zombies and then there's the shambling ones. In my book, it's
Go
actually like
Hovers.
an extraterrestrial virus
Hmm.
that gets into your body and it takes over the part of your brain that controls everything in your body. And basically, it starts feeding on you. And in order for it to stop feeding on you, you have to eat living tissue or it'll just keep feeding on you.
Hmm.
And it doesn't so much decompose you, it just basically liquefies you and eventually you're just a
Ooh,
skeleton. And then
gotcha.
usually before your body is up, it'll try to leap into the next host
The
before that
really
happens.
interesting thing that or you and I saw last time you were over, I think it was the last time you were over, was that, can't remember the name of the movie, but it was in Canada, and
Oh
it was
yeah, that
with a radio station,
and it was
and the virus
words.
spread. Yeah, it was virus spread through speech, and
Yeah.
but only people that spoke English. So, guess what's wrong there? We're all screwed.
We're all
So they,
screwed. Yeah.
yeah, so they started speaking French Canadian, and they're able to survive. But
Those
I thought that
goddamn
was interesting that
Canadians.
it's orally, AU, orally transmitted.
So what would you say is your favorite uh what is your favorite zombie apocalypse show or movie? And two, what do you feel is the most realistic as far as how people are trying to survive?
Oh, okay. Huh. Well, as far as realism goes, I it's hard to say because zombies aren't here yet. But as far as like
Right.
a human response to said uh, pandemic, epidemic, whatever you want to label it, um, geez, I haven't really thought about that one. I mean, I do like the first few seasons of TWD, The Walking Dead, where it's a lot of people down, a lot,
Yeah.
a lot. We're
I
like
think
75%
I think one of
easily.
my favorite things about The Walking Dead when it started was like it would get you to like a character and then it would go, "Oh, there, now he's dead. Now what are you going to do?
Hmm.
Deal with that emotional pain, you bastards." So,
Yeah.
and then it just got to be the
Or
same thing
or
over and
or the
over.
one that got me to stop. watching was, well, you like this character and this character too? Ha ha, we're killing them both. Like
I one of the
Glenn
things I had a
and
hard
Sergeant Abraham. Ugh.
oh yeah, I had a hard time with I really liked Rick, but he kept changing. Like he's a psycho, and then he's not a psycho, and then he's just a big wuss. He's
Mhm.
Carl, and it's like, come on,
Oral.
man, yeah, just be a badass because that's that you do it so well. So yeah, but I'm gonna have to
Yep.
say probably my favorite zombie flick was I think it was called Maggie, and it was Arnold Schwarzenegger was in it. And that was the first time I'd ever seen a movie where he acted the shit out of that part.
Oh, that's the one he did like wasn't it like 5 or 10 years ago. Not it wasn't like a long time ago. I want to say maybe
Right.
5. And
Yeah.
he was older, and there was Maggie was a little girl, right?
It was his daughter. Yeah.
Yep. And got to keep her alive because even though she's a zombie, she's the answer to the pandemic or whatever.
So the whole thing was it was kind of like towards the end of this zombie pandemic, and his daughter had been bit, and she didn't want to be euthanized, which was how they were dealing with the problem. And so she ran away from home
Hmm.
and ran into the city, and Arnold went looking for her, and he found her, and he brought her back home, and then the cops came, and he was like, just let me try to, I just want to spend her last human moments with her, until she turns. And then they go, you have to promise us you're going to kill her when she turns, because we're trying to keep this in a quarantine zone.
Right.
So but he liked the script so much, he did the movie for free.
Oh wow. Unlike him.
And right, and I was just like, and I just couldn't believe how well he acted in that movie. I was just
Hmm.
like, holy shit, Arnold Schwarzenegger can act. He just chooses not to most of the time.
Well, they pay him not to.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would have to say that one was mine. But yeah. Anyhow.
I don't know. I guess I
Anyhow.
like bits and pieces from bunches of them. I don't know that there's any one that sticks out as like the best because like um what was the one with Brad Pitt? Um,
Oh, World War Z.
that's it. Um, the part of that I liked was at the beginning when he's using just taking magazines and wrapping them around his arms and taping them
Oh,
around his arms. Like, well, that's
yeah.
pretty smart, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. See, my idea was to like the National Guardsman that's one of the stars of the zombie book. Brent is his name. Brent Falcone. He finds hockey gear,
Hmm. Yep.
and he uses that as defense against getting bit or whatever. So, but yeah, I thought maybe some good gorilla tape would work too.
Well, yeah, there is that. And I wonder if you got enough of those glue strips for mice. If you put enough of those down, that would stop them, or how many it would take.
Or if you could just take a bunch of them, melt that stuff down, and then put it on a big, huge, long strip of road all the way, or just put it
Okay.
around your house.
Hmm.
Boom, you're
A
protected.
whole. It's like, the sidewalk is coated with it or whatever.
Right.
Fill in the
Yeah.
blank. But you know, haha. I said, no wonder why nobody comes to my birthday party.
Right. Just as Doctor Who and Mr. Rogers.
Yep.
All right.
Uh,
Well, so if how do you think what do you think would be the military's response? I mean, you've been You've been there.
Yeah, and I thought about that one. That one would be pretty tough because after 9/11 happened, they had a big stir about it because um, there's a law passed called posse comitatus,
Hmm.
and what that is the United States military is not authorized to be um, a military or act as a police force within the United States,
Oh,
and that's why 9/11 was left up to the National Guard, so they could go to each could go to their you know airport and take care of that or port. I think
gotcha.
some of them did ports as well, but um, that's why that happened. But with the with the Congress that we have now, and is it any wonder why a group of baboons is called a Congress? Hmm. But anyway, with the group that we have now in Congress, I would think they would try and push forward a bill to try and uh, debate them or at least negotiate with them, whatever. Maybe if we just sent them $200 billion, the zombies will go
and,
away. Like I don't
and put them on
know.
an island and put them on an island in Hawaii just for them.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. No. No.
Yeah.
But it, the if I know anything from the government, their reaction would be late and half-assed.
Yeah. That's what I'm afraid of. Yeah. I mean, you've seen how the government responds to things
Mhm.
because you've had to operate in it.
And
So that's
every swinging Richard wants to, leadership wise, wants to put their finger in it and say, "Ooh, I'm in charge of this. I'll get my next promotion because I did this." No, shut
uh
up.
yeah. We're here, just let us do our job and let us get out.
Yep.
Yeah. So
No,
like I
Sergeant West, we're not going to give you your Bronze Star medal. We've given out too many already. Oh, oh, so that, okay. Never mind. Not that I didn't deserve it. It's because you've given out too many already. Thanks.
right. There was have you read the book World War Z?
Well, that's
I know you've
where,
seen the movie.
well, yeah, but that's where it came from. So I read it actually first. The movie came from one chapter of that book.
Yeah, because
Okay.
otherwise none of the I thought they needed to make a movie about the book because the book
Well,
that was that book is one of my favorite books.
they could have actually done a movie on each of the chapters.
Right. I mean, they could have made a series out of it,
Hmm.
a decent one.
Could very well have
You
still
know,
be making money
maybe the
better than
maybe
anything
that's what
Hollywood's
we'll
doing
write.
now
Yeah, let's try writing that.
with sock puppets.
Yeah, with sock puppets. Exactly. Well, the thing about the government response in my book. I don't know if you've read my zombie book
Mhm.
or if you've been following along on my podcast reading the book. But the way the government responded in my book was um, they're overrun. Their safe zones are getting overrun, and they feel that the only way that they can even the odds is by nuking the bigger cities, some of the bigger cities, to cut the numbers down and then send troops in.
Oh, and that was one of the points that came up in that 888, 888811,
Yeah,
that con op, whatever it was. But as with any, even, uh, even with the COVID virus or any virus or anything, that's one thing that the military is drastically worried about is the security forces guarding their bases, which if that starts to deteriorate, then that would allow bad actors easier access to fill in the blank,
Right.
whatever. I don't think they're going to make it to the bottom of a missile silo because, just listening to what Andy Olson has had to say, yeah, you're not getting down there. But, other things, um, vehicles, um, and ASPs, ammo supply points, things like that. Once your security force starts getting decimated, you run that risk because hoodlums, ne'er do wells, whatever you want, can just jump the fence.
Scientologists. Boom, I just lost half my audience. No, just kidding.
The League of Women Voters.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, I'm gonna get into reading the book. I really appreciate you coming on here with me and chatting for a bit and sharing everything with me. So,
Not a problem.
all right, now you can tell Allison that it's safe to sit and chat with me on here, and it's not as
Oh,
scary.
well, I think it's past her bedtime already. I think she went up.
Oh, all right. Right. Yeah. We're all getting there, man. We're all
Yeah,
getting there.
yes, we are. I never
All
thought
right,
I would
man.
make it this far, though.
Right. Yeah, me neither. I was surprised I made it to 50. So,
I sure tried hard not making it here, but here I
yeah.
am.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because we're meant to share rocking chairs at the same old folks' home, buddy.
Yeah, throw shit at kids that walk by.
Right. With balsa wood.
We'll have to invent something to, like, spud guns.
Oh, there you go.
There
Spud guns.
we
Just
go.
shoot
Spud
our
guns.
old shoot our used depend undergarments at them.
Nice. Or use those as landmines.
Right.
Yeah,
All
perfect.
right, man. Well, you have a good night. Thanks again for coming
You
on.
too.
All right,
You're
we'll
very
talk to you
welcome.
later. All
Anytime.
right.
Yep. Bye.
Peace out, buddy.